Hello, Internet. This is Lord Mad Dog, and I'm coming at you with an update. A very long time coming update because Windows decided to update and it turned off my heat sensors and my fans, and it literally melted down my computer. Yeah. And for some reason, I can't have a class action lawsuit against Microsoft because they've done this to 1,000 other computers, I found out. Ooh, it's so infuriating. Anyway, what we were working on last time was the character creator, runtime character creator. As you see here, I have myself a nice, what I would like to call a wood elf. And she's quite pretty. And I am just going to go over the different possible settings that we have here. I'm going to go ahead and go up to the top. Where last time I was talking about having male, female. So we're going to make the hair disappear, because I'm not done the whole thing on making hair for work. So we have now a male character. We can switch between male and female with just a single click. We also have the options to save and load characters. So we have the default character. We have a female character, which looks about the same. We have a genome, which we got to click on her face again. We have a genome character, male. As you can see, there's absolute runtime. Perfect. I was trying to make an Egyptian. I did not do too good. I have kind of a baseline elf, a test. That didn't turn out too well. And then the wood elf I was working on, but I did some more changes since the last time I did that. So as you can see there, we have a lot of different options that we have for the things, but we're going to go over them real quick. So skin, we have changed up a bit, as we've already gone over all of the possible art that we have still left on since last time. We also now have body textures. So if we go through these body textures, each one of these are just slightly different. I'm going to turn up the skin normal here so you can see the difference. The skin normal is basically the definition. See right there, the definition. And the skin roughness here, we're going to turn that up and we're going to turn our skin spectacular up a little bit so it's kind of sexy looking, slightly. So you got a nice sheen going on. So those are two new options. Those are some options we have added in there. So we can now see the difference in the textures. So we got kind of like a slight ab going on here. We can even add a little bit more definition to that so you can see even more of what's there. We got first two. This has a little bit more like age lines along the sides, and you can see there. So it's like a little bit of a different. This is even a little bit older, flabbier kind of like texture. I'm not going to go through each one of these. Kind of like a rugged old strong man. This would look good for a man. More arm textures. So I have put a few different possible defaults. I like one, which is kind of just default. And we got face textures. I've got a decent amount of face textures here. In each one, you're going to see them slightly different. There's like something you see more on a man texture. There's a completely unblemished one, even more pristine blemish, kind of more like a system. We get more of a man and older man, like rough thing. I think if you're going for absolute pristine, I think it's like either 7 or 8, no, 7 or 6. Yeah, see, like that. And then we can go to face. We have lots of new options for these. So we're going to quickly go over all this as what we're doing here. We got our face models, different styles of face, and we have the option for when we are checking our male, female here. Go back to male. There you go, face. We can zoom in on the face. We can change the face's head models. For a man, we only have a couple options for the man's face head because it's just an example of what's possible. He's got it's right now, all those settings are still mostly for women. So he looks kind of funky, kind of looks more like a lizard. So let's go back to female. We also have the possibility for a race slider, which would change the base face texture and the base body textures for male and female. I only have human right now, but this is just an option that would make it real easy for you to change that. The thing is, though, if you go changing the base body, you would also have to have armor and equipment change for each one of those body types, because it's not going to be affected by the body morphs. Those are actually changing the mesh type. So if you have an orc, you're going to have orc style clothing. If you're going to have like you could obviously make an orc with this system, but I mean, if you want to actually implant a completely different race, you would have to have different armors too, because otherwise the armors are going to clip through it. Okay, back to face. So we have lots of face sliders here. I'm not going to go over each one because this took a lot of time to do. We can up in height, so you can see there's a difference in the height, the face width, kind of a thicker face, and then we have face depth, which makes it that thicker that way, so more defined. I mean, then I also can now have settings to set back to default. So if I just go through here, we have sculpt. You can see the sculpts changing. It took, like I said, it took a lot of time to go over each one of these ones, these details. Also, the sliders are, they can go to extremes. As you can see, quite extremes. And if you want to easily change those extremes, so let's go ahead and exit that and look at this settings for sliders. I gotta go to my UI. I thought I had one up here just to show you. Meta character creator, data, UI, customization character, submenus. Let's go ahead and open up. Like forehead was the one we were messing with right there, or was it the eyebrows? I'm gonna click on that. Come on. Open up. There we go. And we come over here, and we can select on each one of these sliders. We'd have to expand. Here in a sec. Expand this so we can see that. Expand. Let's say with top scalp. So right now your min and max value is -1 and 1, and you can easily refine those so your characters won't look so your players won't be able to make them look so extreme. So it's just that simple. You just change the min and max values of each one, and then you can still change the default value and the step value so wherever you kind of want it to be when it first loads up. Yep. So it's really easy to change the slider values. Here we go. And as you can see, it's completely performant. It's picked at 60 FPS, even though we're working with a high definition MetaHuman here. And I've got, even after my computer had a massive failure, it's still, I'm still able to get 60 FPS, even though my computer's not in top shape. So let's see where we're talking about forehead skull. So this is like I said, one, I think it was forehead skulls right there. And we're going to go down things and set these all to default. And you can see the difference that we did to this character by changing all these things. Here we go. Just carefully watch as we change these things back to default. Look how dramatically she changes. So you can make yourself a really good, wild looking different character here. Ears. Here we are. Now this is going to be the one that changes the most. So that's the size of the ears height. That would do all up and down height-wise. And then you got your width. And then you got your forward and back. And turn. We ain't really doing much turn. The flare out. What's a flare means flare out. And then you turn that and down that. Okay. And we got your ear tips, roundness. There we are. We're no longer look elf. We're going to take it down. We're not going to have height. So there we are. That's the default on the ear height. And left, right. Oh, well, there's something I need to slightly change. I probably should make it so you can actually pull them in farther. So instead of having it 0 as the minimum, I'll probably put a -1 as minimum. And then earlobes, this is down here. So if you want to have a big eared person, I know some people like that style. I'm not really sure why, but it's not my culture. So some people really like big earlobes. Yeah, so you can have big earlobes. And nose, we have tons of different options for our nose. Your nose size, nose height, nose in and out, nose turn. We can even have a crooked nose. There we are, crooked nose. And nostril size. All these different options. I'm not going to go through each one, but this is all runtime. So unlike in the MetaHuman character creator, where you have to go after you've done all your changings and everything, you have to actually make a whole new MetaHuman that prints out into your files. This is actually done all at runtime and with basically no no FPS costs. So we were messing with the nose. Let's go cheeks. I think, did I know I didn't show cheeks? There we are. Height of cheeks, cheek width. So you can make them thicker. Cheek height. Okay, upper cheek. Mess around, forward and backwards. Where you want them on the cheek line. Cheek up and down. Cheek in and out. Lower cheek. As you can see, with the bit of messing we've done with this character, we have dramatically changed it from looking like a nice wood elf to, well, whatever this is, the kind of a more default look. We've got also for mouth. The most important thing for me is smile or frown, so I put that right up there at the top. You can have them smiling or frowning. So we have there kind of more of a smile. Your mouth width. We have mouth in and out. Pucker, not spucker. Okay. We have mouth up and down. Mouth open. So if you're ever watched the fan made Skyrim series, where the Dragonborn always has his mouth open. You could even have that slider a little higher so you can have it all the way open. The Dragonborn running around with his mouth always open, looking at the giant smile on his face. Yeah. Shout out to that if you've ever watched that series. Lip pucker. This is the actual pucker of the lips, not mouth in and out, so the lips actually pucker or not. Some people like puckered lips. Lip thickness, how thick your lips are. There we are. Lip size, upper lip. This is the upper lip, so you can singly adjust them. The upper lip height. So you can see that. Lower lip, upper lip in and out. That's not an overbite. That is just your upper lip in and out. Corners, in and out. So like as you were to, well, it's very self-explanatory on what it does. And we have lower lip width. Make that lower lip bigger, fat, smaller. Lips, lower lip size. Lip height. Lower lip in and out. And then that's done with that. Now we actually deal with the jaw. So let's close cheek. We don't need that. Jaw. Now we can do a lot of things with your jaw. So your jaw width, this is the whole jaw, right from here all the way down to there. You can have a very narrow-faced person, all extremely narrow-faced person, because like I said, I let the sliders go to the extremes. Okay, it's jaw thickness down here at the bottom. Jaw jut, so we can get a Squidward going on. Jaw height. This is the back jaw width. This is right from here to here. Yep, back jaw width. Back jaw height. Lower jaw line. This is right underneath the chin. You get that big, strong chin going on. Chin width. This is kind of like what we were messing with earlier, but only affecting the chin. Chin height. So you want to make someone a mouth breather or not a mouth breather? Yeah. Chin height. Chin under. Whether or not they've got a double chin. See, now has a double chin. See, now not. And we have a chin jut. And where was maybe it was a mouth. I missed it. The chin jut. There we are. There should have been overbite. Where's mouth? Oh, there it is, overbite. I did miss it. There it is. So you have an overbite or underbite. So another mouth breather with Chuck E. Cheese teeth, or that I'm not sure what you would call that. Yes. Okay. So as you can see, that's all the facial options. I also have in there postures. So you can see here, she's got a rather straight posture. Default posture, we'll set it absolute default. So this is the default posture right here. As you can see, the default UE5 posture for MetaHumans is kind of lean forward and kind of, I don't really like the posture. So I change it, you bend back, which makes you tilt slightly to the side. So you got to straighten them out a little. I think I can tab it too straight. And we also have shoulders height. So if you have someone who's kind of always running around with their, you know, the type of person that always has their shoulders kind of up and their head stuck, their neck stuck down, so you can have low, you can change the neck length. All right. Once you change this, though, you also got to change your arms height right here. So you can change how their arms are at, whether or not they're in and out. Okay. Then we also have forward and backwards. So if someone stands up straight and has a rather rigid back line, let's change its shoulders height. That's kind of nasty looking. There we go. So we have whether or not they keep their arms in and out. And then you have arms forward and backwards where you want it kind of your resting, and your arms where the height right there. So you can see there, you can even change the posture. Let's go back to where she looks decent. And I do think that's pretty much everything I've done. I've done a little bit more with, have a few more options with body. You can now have longer arms, longer legs, and different things. So like lower legs size. Is that it? No, it's not it. It's the lower legs length. There it is. So we have lower legs length. See, he's now Slenderman. Yeah. And I do believe that's actually everything. If you have any comments, likes, or shares are very much welcome. Next, I'm going to be working on accessories, and then I will be going on to working on grooms. So you can have beards and hair, different hairstyles, eyelids, and eyelashes. That's going to be a little bit messy because grooms do not like to be changed at runtime all that much. I have figured out how to do it, but it's going to take a lot to work because every time you change the face model, you have to change the groom, and they have to have a matching to each one. So it's going to take me probably about a week and a half to do just the groom setup alone. But for now, I'm going to work on accessories, which means you'll be able to like have earrings or horns or tails or neck, like maybe fingernails or things on the arms. So it'll be very comprehensive system that you'll be able to have as many as you want. You'll just hit add accessory, then you'll pick from a list of bones that will drop down where you kind of want it. I'll have each bone name, not actually the bone names, because I want to name it so the player can understand it. So I'll have it like maybe wrist, left wrist, instead of having right hand right, which would be the bone name, hand dash right. R, which would be the bone name, or like the scalp, which the scalp's name would be hair C13, I think right there would be C13. So it'll be like scalp top or forehead top. So kind of, and you pick a list, it'll spawn your accessory. You pick your accessory, you'll spawn it, and then you'll be able to move it around and scale it up and rotate it appropriately. And you'll be able to have as many of those as you want. That I'll make that system there. Anyway, if you have any suggestions or comments, always welcome. Lord Mad Dog, signing off.